Rod was another one that was not considered a paragon of manhood according to American men, yet was well known for dating incredibly beautiful women, and he just seemed to get the worst of it. Now, Stewart said of the whole stomach pumping incident in an interview, the rumor originated with an assistant he fired, which is a story in and of itself, and you should go look it up. Quote, he fed the press a story in which I, as a consequence of an evening spent orally servicing a gang of sailors in a gay bar in San Diego, I had been required to check into a hospital emergency room to have my stomach pumped. I have never orally pleasured even a solitary sailor, let alone a ship's worth in one evening. And I never had my stomach pumped of either naval issue semen or of any other kind of semen, unquote. Now, because this is the kind of podcast that goes the extra mile for our listeners, I did the math on this.
Of course you did.
On the high end, the average male ejaculates between a quarter and up to a full teaspoon of jizz. Using the high end, there are 768 teaspoons in a gallon, which is the amount frequently mentioned in the legends and is pretty much the largest volume the average human stomach can expand to hold. So Rod or David or Mick would need to suck off 768 dudes in a row to fill their stomach with a gallon of cum. So I hear you asking,
nobody asked you!
How long would it take to suck 768 dicks in a row? The average male nuts in 5 to 7 minutes. Now, to be sure, some amongst us have a hair trigger, but you also have to assume that anyone participating in a massive dick-sucking marathon is not going to be a hair trigger sort. Probably the kind of fella that is going to be able to control themselves at least a little, but you also have to assume that they wouldn't want to waste any time, so they're probably going to be taking matters into their own hands, if you catch my drift. So I'm going to use the low-end number of 5 minutes. 768 5-minute fellatio's time out to 3,840 minutes, which divided by 60 minutes comes up to sucking dick for 64 hours straight to create 1 gallon of cum. This is not taking into account digestion in the stomach, which opens up a whole different set of equations that frankly are just beyond my math skills, but I urge the math-inclined listeners to tackle the issues on their own. But I think it's entirely safe to say that sucking dick for 64 straight hours is frankly implausible, if not impossible. So there's no way that a gallon of cum could ever build up in the stomach to make pumping a stomach to remove said baby batter a necessity. Therefore, myth
busted.
Seltzer Kings
Podcasts.